I don't wanna say anything, cause if I do, I might say the wrong words. Oh no. So I'll keep my mouth shut and not listen. Afraid I'd lose you if I didn't. Till we find what we're missing and compromise. So I'll keep my shoes up and not leaving. We're on thin ice, winter season. Can't we find a single reason not to say goodbye? Oh, if I said what's on my mind, would you stay with me tonight? If I said what's on my mind, would that make you run and hide? Run and hide. Run and hide. If I said what's on my mind, would that make you run and hide? Would that make you run and hide? Run and hide. Run and hide. Oh, would that make you run and hide? Don't know what to do anymore. I'm mad at options, nothing's working. I'm mad at service. Come help me now, I'm fucking nervous. I'm trying but can't scratch the surface. So I'll keep my mouth shut and not listen. Afraid I'd lose you if I didn't. Till we find what we're missing and compromise. So I'll keep my shoes on and not leaving. We're on thin ice, winter season. Can't we find a single reason not to say goodbye?
What's up, everyone? What's up? Welcome back. I am alive and I'm kicking and I'm well. The prayers have worked. The water has been watering. I've been drinking plenty of it. Yes, I've also cut my finger. So if I'm showing the middle finger, it's not me swearing at someone. I was cooking. If you follow my Twitter, I was doing up international break enjoyment. And whilst doing international break enjoyment, I mess up. And I cut my finger. But for the people asking, did I have COVID? No, I did not have COVID. The tests were good. Everything's good. I was just unwell because of maybe weather change, burnout, XYZ. I did mileage, I did a lot of mileage. And I still went to support the women's team. I'm going to support the youth team this Friday, I think, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Mileage has to get done. Whether you like it or not, it has to get done. Luther says, what is mileage? Mileage is when I'm traveling to watch all the Manchester United games, whether that be men's, women's, youth, Europa, whatever it is, mileage. The only one person who'll be doing mileage in all games. 2 years in a row now. I haven't missed a game. I haven't missed a home game 2 years in a row. So yeah, mileage is getting done. But I'm feeling better. My throat is not aching. My back is not aching. I think I've slept about 14 hours, 3 days in a row. 3 days in a row. I've spent like hours and hours of just sleep, hyperbolic chamber. But I'm back and I'm ready to talk about Manchester United. And I'm ready to give you guys some entertainment during international break. But I've brought a special guest with me, of course. I don't come alone this time. I have brought a very special guest with me. The special guest is called Alex. A big Manchester United fan, a big Jadon Sancho fan. So if you guys have Jadon Sancho questions and slander, maybe this might not be it today. Maybe just put your fingers in your ears today, because she's a very, very big Jadon Sancho fan, and I'm even bigger Manchester United fan. So let me not waste any more time. Let me introduce Alex. Alex, how are you doing? You got a big smile on your face with the Sancho prop that I've given you today. Talk to me. How are you feeling?
That killed me. I love when you said you're doing international break enjoyment. I was like, yes, that's for it. I'm doing well. I love Manchester United first and foremost. I will stick up for players where they need to be, stood up for. That's it. But I do have a soft spot for him. I do. Okay, you got me.
Maybe because of the background and maybe because of the heritage, but still, we all have a little bit of. This is what I say to everyone: we all have a little bit of player FC in us. It's true, we all do. I have a little bit of player FC when it comes to Malacia, when it comes to Anthony. People have that with David De Gea, and it's fine. It's fine, long as it doesn't get overboard. It's fine. But Alex, talk to me. How you feeling during this international break? Are you bored? Are you doing international break enjoyment, or what is keeping your time?
Yeah, so I'm itching for this team to come back and play like this. That wasn't the case last season. I was like, yes, I need the break. I don't even want to talk about this club this week. So now I'm excited for them to come back during this international break. Obviously, watching England play, watching a few France games. So yeah, just enjoying being in peace. But I'm looking forward to this weekend. I can't wait.
Yeah, so international break has been for me as well a time to just reflect, reassess. Obviously, this particular international break is in like knockout stage competition, it's qualifiers and things like that. So it's not really that much important. But one thing I've realized is all of our Manchester United players are performing well. They're all pretty. Lindelof is performing
I
well.
know.
I mean, Elanga is performing well. Forget the big boys, right? Forget all the big boys. They always perform well. But Elanga and Lindelof are performing well. And it's made me go, do I need to watch international football? What's going on here? is there a player there? What's going on here, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Sabitzer as well scored a little rocket as well. So yeah, they're all kind of out
Right.
and about.
Sabitzer, McTominay. This is the thing
Oh
with the
yeah,
I mean, shall we stick Casemiro and Lindelof on set pieces,
no.
or because Lindelof scored one as well? Sabitzer scored a free kick. I mean, we have to. Lindelof, I was not familiar with your game. Same with Elanga, man. This is the effect of Ten Hag, isn't it? Right? This is
Yeah,
what right.
yeah. But like we've got Maguire's out there doing his thing. He's playing, starting full 90 minutes. I mean, international break is where miracles happen, and there you go. So
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah. This is the levels that the gaffer has put on, that even the bench players, squad players, are going out there and showing what they've been doing. This is what it's about. It's about when you get given the opportunity, whether it's national, international football, or your club level, you go and say, you know what, I'm going to perform. And apparently, McTominay scored again. He's on absolute fire, and he's proving a point. Well, good on McTominay, man. All he's doing is adding 5 million, 10 million to his valuation. And I'll
Yes,
take that all day long. I'll take that
exactly.
all day long.
He's playing in midfield though, right? For
Yeah,
Scotland.
apparently so. Well,
Oh,
he's playing
okay.
higher up. Yeah, he's playing higher up
Higher up,
for
sorry, that's it.
Scotland.
Yeah, higher up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look, international football is always going to be different, because I remember Dallo was performing international level very well as well at the start of the season, but right now he's not at that level just yet. Maguire is known for his international performances, right? But just as we're talking about international football, just quickly, Rashford has got a bit of stick because he didn't go to the international football. I'll let you land what you think on it, and then I'll tell you my piece.
I was really disappointed actually in Gareth Southgate doing that, because there's just no need to make comments about his availability. I think that Rashford's always been available. It's always been a privilege for him to play for his country. We know that he's explained that many, many times. The thing for me that is the issue is that every time he does, like, when he had the injury during the Euros, he didn't play him. He didn't play him at all. So it was like a waste of time. And then when he did take him to the World Cup, he played him in some games. He scores goals, and then he takes him off for the France game, puts him on like 5 minutes at the end. I mean, yeah, why would he? Why would he? He's on fire at United. He's on form. He's doing really well. He had a knock. I think prioritize that. It's not a priority. And the England team are doing really well. And I think it's a little bit of a slight to say that about Rashford when he's been so committed throughout the many, many seasons he's played for England. So yeah, that was really disappointing for me. I think let him enjoy his holiday. Everyone haven't given him stick for being in New York. He's back now. He's on the training ground. He's doing his thing. I'm for him having and living his life and having a rest.
Okay. I'm very much in agreement with you. I think I'm all for him enjoying his life. But just to add to what you said, first point, Marcus Rashford has years more to come for England. He's got years. He's only, 25 years old, something like this. He's got years to come for England. That's point one. If Harry Kane was injured or something, that would be a bigger concern for England, because he's right now, he needs to perform and give everything right now. Point number two is Marcus Rashford, when he was the most available for England, is when England had the best opportunity to go and get some piece of silverware or trophy. And at that time, Gareth didn't use him. And as a player, when I'm sacrificing to give myself to you, commit to you, you've decided not to use me and use Bowen and use whoever, Grealish or whoever, right? Well, then so be it. Now I'm going to continue on myself, because I've already won a piece of silverware with my club. I'm also on my way to a semi-final and a possible final, also possible European trophy. I'm not taking that conscious risk, because you see what happened to Odegaard as well, right? And Arteta's probably sat there with his hands on his head thinking, my goodness, I hope, So I'm happy, because if England go through and qualify and whatever for the Euros and everything's well, and Rashford is firing, Southgate is going to use him anyways. And if Southgate doesn't, well, that tells you Southgate's favoritism, right? And these players in a season when they've had World Cup already in the middle of the season, like we forget when we talk about football, ladies and gentlemen, there was a World Cup this season. In the middle of the season. This is unheard of. This is not supposed to be happening. So the players are already tired. The players are already knackered because of and also the unfortunate death of our queen, which has also set back some games. So let's not forget how hard it has been for the players to play week in, week out. So if a player is out doing enjoyment and taking a break, please do it, because on the pitch you're performing and you need that switch off as well. So yeah.
Yeah, he needs to reset. He deserves it. He's literally been incredible since the World Cup. And I personally, for one, would prefer him to prioritise Manchester United Football Club right now than England, because we need him. He's literally our top scorer. He's everything to us right now when it comes to the forward. So yeah, I'm happy for him to have his little break. He's back now. He's back. I saw the pictures. I was like, yes, go on, Rash, he's back. So yeah, I'm happy.
Big up to Ronald Jacob for staying a member of PlanetFaz as a resident for 6 months. On his 6-month anniversary, Ronald Jacob says, PlanetFaz is life-changing. Become a member. Enjoy. Well, thank you very much, Ronald. I hope you are keeping well. And thank you very much for your anniversary chat as well. Moving on, let's address the elephant in the room. Right, it's in the title, it's in the background, it's everywhere. It's been reported very heavily, and this time by Laurie Whitwell as well. Laurie Whitwell is someone who's obviously in charge of reporting for Manchester United for The Athletic, and he always reports when it's serious information to report. Mason Greenwood, the whole topic is he wants back in. He wants back into the United squad. There is reports that apparently he will do anything to be back into the Manchester United squad. There are, as much as we have, in all honesty, Alex, we've delayed the conversation. We have said this is sensitive. Let's not talk about it just yet. Let's talk about it when we want to talk, when things progress and whatever. And things have progressed quite a bit. They have progressed quite a bit. Legal side, it's now finished. The club is doing their own investigation. Eventually, we will need to have some serious conversation about it. And I think season is now swiftly coming to the latter stage. I think we can safely say 70% of the season is done, pretty much, 75%. With tour's been announced. Is he going to be part of the tour? Where do you stand? And what is it that you want to debunk of this whole situation?
Gosh, it's a really difficult one, because it's so triggering to a lot of people, men and women out there, because the circumstances are just super abhorrent, for a lot of people to kind of get their head around. You've got two sides of it, because you've got people that are really love the player. He's not been accused of anything. Well, he's not been found guilty of anything. So it's like, okay, let him come back to play. But on the other side of things, he hasn't been found innocent either. It's been dropped. When it comes to relationships like that, where there allegedly or potentially is violence involved, it's difficult for people to draw a line. But I think that in terms of him coming back to Manchester United, me personally, I wouldn't want to see it. I wouldn't want to see him come back to play for us. I think that right now, especially in the season that we're having, and we've got momentum, and the team are really enjoying each other. We just don't need that additional noise and that additional distraction right now. I think the team are solid as they are. I keep seeing people saying, "Oh, the goals," and that Greenwood could score, but I think it's the moral side of it as well that a lot of people find really difficult to let go of and to forgive. We all, well, maybe not all of us, but most of us have seen the images and we've heard the voice note and stuff like that. So it's really difficult to let that leave your mind. So as much as people want him back because the police have dropped the charges, like I say, he's not been found innocent either. They've dropped it because I think right now you see the situation, she's pregnant, they're back together. I don't know many men out there who, if someone had accused them of beating them up or their career was destroyed, that would then decide to marry them or have a baby with them. I don't know many men that would do that. So that in itself just shows that the fractured, damaged situation that was going on between the two of them. And then the Laurie Whitwell. I mean, big up to Laurie Whitwell. I really like his articles, and especially in particular that one. I think that it was really interesting to note about his attitudes and just in general. I mean, that type of attitude, we've said it so many times that is not a player that we want at United, who is causing problems, who's out partying, who's selfish, who's creating chaos. It's kind of like a very much a disruptive situation. And I was thinking back as well to the time when I remember Greenwood didn't get called up for England once. And I was thinking, why is that? And then Solskjaer mentioned that, they've got a plan for him. They're going to take a year. And now it's kind of unfolded in this article that, it's because of all the issues and the problems that he'd had behind the scenes, flaunting the lockdown rules, etc. I mean, those things, it comes down to mentality as well. I mean, it's not like you want a nun, but you have to be, when you're a footballer at that level, you have to be disciplined. And when you're not listening to rules like that, like little simple rules, how are you then going to translate on the pitch? You're going to be up in arms with the manager. You're not going to be listening. And those are the things in particular that I think I'm looking at and thinking, well, that's a no. That in itself is a no. On top of the rest of the situation that's happened, obviously the club are doing their due diligence. They're investigating it behind the scenes, and I think it's really tough. I think for me personally, if he plays again, I mean, I love Manchester United Football Club. It's like, it's a very, very hard thing to deal with. But I just hope that they don't let him back, because I think as well as that, you have to think about sponsors. All of that stuff it's just the wrong sort of noise that we need. So yeah, that's how I feel about that situation.
Okay. Well, it's good that you have kind of an understanding of the whole situation. Some people don't want to understand and really take the certain factors. One of the major factor is they didn't pursue it from a legal perspective. That's one major factor. Second major factor is she is now having a child with him. This is like a huge factor. Third factor is they're getting married. Fourth factor is we actually don't know what's happened behind the scenes. Nobody knows. We simply know what was put out there by a person who was saying that they have been a victim of X, Y, and Z, and they have put the information out. The information wasn't put out by a third party. The information wasn't put out by the police, X, Y, and Z. There's lots of factors involved. And also, Alex, where do we stand if someone has forgiven someone for a crime that they committed towards them? If the person has forgiven them, where do we stand? Am I supposed to be judging you even the person has forgiven you? Where do we stand, right?
Yeah, I think
because that's what it comes across as. It comes across as that the person involved has forgiven him, or actually, maybe not forgive is the right word. Maybe not even say forgive. The person in this question has decided to move on. That's even a better word. Move on with him in their life in a manner that makes it look like they're going to have a future. Where do I stand? So am I now going to say they should not be together? Where do
It's a tough one. I think people process forgiveness in different ways. So it's, as a society, because it's a societal thing as well. Like a lot of people feel triggered and have their backs up about it. They put that his girlfriend in a position of, what if that was my mum? What if that was my sister? Some people have had those, been in those situations. As a woman, they've been in those situations. As a man, they've witnessed it from their father to their mother. So it's triggering for a lot of people. So it's like, you have to understand, like, that forgiveness process is going to be manifest different for different people. I think that at the end of the day, he's going to get stick on the pitch. I mean, I hear it already. I'll go to games and, people will be like, the opposition fans always like screaming out, "She said no, Mason," all that kind of stuff, as they usually do. And it's like, I feel like for this club, do we really want to take on board that kind of stuff? Doesn't that put the club into disrepute, that your private life has become so toxic and so horrendous that it's having an impact towards the club itself, like the players as well? I mean, it's manifesting everywhere. So I feel like, for me, it's not a viable situation. It's untenable for me.
Big up to Ronald Jacob for the super chat. Thank you very much, Ronald. Really appreciate you. Says COVID rule was broken by MG11 and Foden. Let's not forget Foden when we are having this convo about the Euros. Yes, they were in the hotel room, and the report had come out that they had broken a COVID rule together. But I am no one to be to moral police anyone, or half of Twitter would be in jail. Police do their thing. Basically, he's saying he's put his trust in the justice system, and he expects the justice system, especially in the UK, that people consider to be fair, to be at a high level. And he's saying, let them make their own decision. Let them do the investigation and make the correct decision that it should be. So I can understand. And also, just to go on this comment as well, big up Alien Tenor as well, a long supporter of the channel, says, has everyone forgot about Giggs, Ferdinand, Rooney, Cantona, etc.? And the crazy thing is, we will never get things 100% right. We will never get things where, because this situation was dealt in a certain way of this year, this is the kind of guide for the rest of humanity. For the rest of humanity, if a situation occurs, we must ignore it, because we ignored Giggs, Ferdinand, Rooney, Cantona, Ronaldo, X, Y, and Z. So when it comes to Greenwood, we should ignore it. That's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. We're always going to have a situation that will need its individual attention, and each scenario has a dynamic of its own. For me, and this is my opinion, I still want to understand what the club want to do, because there is an investigation from the club. Right. Again, to break these things down even more, right, for the people who want to understand it. And here on this channel, I like to really get into things. Point one, Mason Greenwood has representatives. Manchester United have representatives. They are talking. Forget Mason Greenwood and all. Representatives are talking, because point two, a contract is involved of a multi-million pound. Point three, Mason Greenwood is an asset. This is factual information. Whether you like it or not, Mason Greenwood is a registered asset for Manchester United. Point four, where do the new owners stand? Forget the Glazers. The Glazers might even say, hey, Qataris, here, have this headache. This is your headache now. This ain't my headache no more. I don't want to deal with this. Where do the new owners stand? Where do the new investors stand? You mentioned a good point. Sponsors, right? Where do the sponsors stand? At the end of the day, the sponsors aren't sponsoring Mason Greenwood. The sponsors are sponsoring Manchester United. The sponsors didn't pull out when they heard a certain player from Manchester City recently come out. A video has come out of them in the pub. Well, I'll just say it's Kyle Walker. It's actually there. A recent video of Kyle Walker has come out in the pub doing something that's not really appropriate. Sponsors haven't said a single word. There are many situations I can refer to where sponsors haven't said. Another player in Manchester City has been the same situation. Neymar, Ronaldo, many situations happened in football. I can even give you examples. People still sponsor Rick Ross, a person who has said something very vile in a musical lyric. This is outside of football, and yet he still has sponsors to this day. His sponsors at the time moved, but they've come back. We do know that sponsors like Nike have parted ways with Mason Greenwood, but that's not to say that Puma and Adidas will not jump in. Let's be honest. It's not to say Puma and Adidas and New Balance and all of these guys haven't come out and said, by the way, guys, we will not be working with Mason Greenwood because Nike have stepped out. They haven't said that. They haven't. Team Viewer haven't said anything. Have you heard Team Viewer say anything? Have you heard is it DX something? You haven't heard them. All of our other sponsors, Chevrolet, there's hundreds of sponsors. Remington, sorry. Nobody's come out and said anything. The fact is, the club is still making an investigation. Representatives are talking. The club has declined an approach from Turkey or numerous other countries as well. They want to understand what has happened. There has been reports that Mason Greenwood's behavior, whilst prior to this, have been questionable. But let me be honest, that was under a management that maybe was not as serious as what we have now. Ten Hag's management is totally different. And the last point to all of this is the most important point, in my opinion, is where does my gaffer stand? Where does Ten Hag stand with this? Because at the most important, Ten Hag got rid of Ronaldo with a click of a finger. He said it's okay. He wants to go. Even though there was tension and there was going back and forth, and publicly he respected Ronaldo. He gave him the captaincy. He gave him everything. But at the end of the day, he was not. He even went and got Wout Weghorst. He didn't keep Ronaldo, but he said, you know what? If that's it, then that's it. And maybe it's Ten Hag. I would rather than the club. I would rather actually the manager make the final decision, because forget the club and everything. This sort of situation can affect grown adults in the changing room, can affect the likes of Elanga, can affect the likes of Garnacho, can affect the likes of Kobe Mino, Zidane Iqbal, and it's a trickle-down effect. Then there's our women's football as well. So it can go deeper and deeper. So I think the manager has to make a real big decision. Do you see, Alex, in any way for him to come back? Or is it just, you know what? I'm not saying no to him, but I think it's the best decision that we part ways.
I mean, yeah, thinking about it now, and as time has gone past, I think there potentially could be a way back for him. As sad as it is to say that, there could be, because legally he's not been charged with anything. So there's that standpoint of it. I think then it comes down to morality, and it's going to come down to how that affects Manchester United Football Club as a brand, as a football club, and how it, like you said, the wider impact on the women's team, the men's team. If the guys in the who are playing on the pitch are like, this is going to be disruptive, we don't support Greenwood coming back, then that could cause a bit of issues on the pitch, for him. So I agree with you. I think, I'd like to see what Erik ten Hag thinks, and we'd like to see what he has to say. I mean, if Greenwood comes back and he's repentant and he's saying that, okay, you know what, I'm going to work on these X, Y, and Z things, that the club will probably lap that up, and so will a lot of people. For me, this is it's not good enough.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's the overall feeling for me that I think will take place moving forward.
I also want to say, I think the club will have to make a concert, because there's two options: keep him, don't keep him. Right? There's no other option. Both options have collateral damage. Because as you can probably see from the chat, I don't know if you're looking at the chat, but there are a clear divide. There's no middle ground here. There cannot be a middle ground. You either want him in or you want him out. There is actually no middle ground. Even if you keep him as a youth player, whatever, you can't, right? There's no middle ground. So what level of collateral damage is Manchester United willing to take? Because the people who are saying they don't want him back, what level are they willing to go to if he does come back, right? Meaning, are they going to cancel their season tickets? Are they going to start marching the stadium?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? What is it going to take for them to say, okay, let's back off? Is it going to take the other person involved to come publicly say, hey, leave him alone? Leave him alone publicly. She is coming publicly and saying, hey, I am publicly saying, leave him alone. Is that what it's going to take for them to ease off? Okay, Mason Greenwood now gets the boot and is out of Manchester United. The people that in the chat are saying, let's keep Mason Greenwood, how far are they willing to go with being upset? Are they willing to just say, let's move on? I think people are gonna move on easier if he's let go. And let's be honest, that's true. Because without Mason Greenwood, we've still spent money. Without Mason Greenwood, we've still won trophies. People will speak about his ability. But even if he was the best player in the world, it doesn't add any value to the current situation. It doesn't. Just because he's the best player in the world doesn't mean anything. This is a total out of football situation, right? So which level of collateral damage is the club going to take? But go on.
I was going to add one more point as well. Like, I'm just curious to why Ten Hag brought in Anthony when potentially could have Greenwood back. Do you know what I mean? Because we have forwards, we have Alanga, we have Jadon. I know Jadon's had a bit of trouble and issues and stuff, but we had forwards. So it's like I'm just saying that because I think in my mind, was he thinking that he didn't want Greenwood to be a part of the squad either or? If it was a guilty or an innocent verdict, he was like, "That's it. I'm rebuilding this team." I'm just that always like kind of interests me a little bit just to figure that one out.
I mean, I'm not sure because Ten Hag brought in Anthony before the news came out of Greenwood. Before Greenwood was classed as an innocent individual and no further investigation. So would he have brought in Anthony anyways if Greenwood was, let's say, in another world, Greenwood is here, there's nothing involved, there's no case or whatever, would he have still brought in Anthony? That's a very good question. Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I think so because Anthony does more defensive work than Greenwood. That's just maybe my guess. Maybe my guess. Big up to Ronald Jacob again with another super chat. And Ronald says, just want to understand people's stand on Partey. And even when Maguire was in Greece partying and then the whole police thing happened, I guess player PR needs to be strong to be safe. Real world is ice cold. And again, Ronald, each individual scenario is going to be different. Each dynamic is going to be different. We can't use one scenario and say, right, this is the guidelines for the rest of the players for the rest of the world, right? That's not how things work. But I understand we'll always have fingers to point at. But I think, in all honesty, it's okay to let Greenwood go. By the way, Greenwood can have a second chance, ladies and gentlemen, in another football club. Another football club.
But we could also buy other players that are going to be fantastic. We've got a great manager who's really good at talent spotting. So, I mean, I think then the other thing to that is as well is that if we let Greenwood go and then we get, say, like a Kane or an Osimhen to come in, and then we win a trophy without him, like people are not going to care. People just want him because they think he's going to bring goals, and that remains to be seen. He's not touched the football pitch for a year, so that's going to take time for him.
More than a year.
Back. Yeah, more than a year. So that's going to take time for him to get back into his stride again anyway. So we're still going to be waiting. It's not like it's going to be instant success with the Greenwood back. I just don't think that's the case. We still need to buy other players. So I think we're jumping the gun a little bit on that one.
Yeah. Like I say, if he stays in football, ladies and gentlemen, that's a second chance. You are still in football. You are still in professional football. The reason why the reports have come out that Mason Greenwood is willing to go through a wall for Manchester United is because he ain't playing for Chelsea. He ain't playing for Tottenham. He ain't playing for Arsenal. He ain't playing for Man City. He ain't playing for West Ham. Top 10 to 15 teams in the Premier League alone. He's not even playing in the Premier League. I don't think it's going to be beyond difficult for him to play in the Premier League. So him and again his representatives know that if he's going anywhere, it has to be the likes of Turkey or China, or as sad as it sounds, it has to be one of those leagues to get his career back up. But Alex, are you not a bit fearful of our Sentiment FC where, oh my God, look, Greenwood has scored a brace today. And then fan base say, we should have kept him. Because we do this now already.
Yeah, they're probably going to do that Pogba when they see him like tearing it up for Juventus. When he finally gets back, it's just too much. I think for me, when I lost that sentiment was when Jaap Stam left. I was devastated at that point. I cried. I was upset because I loved him. And after that, I thought Alex Ferguson is ruthless. So I kind of got used to it. Like players, your favorite players, they're gonna leave. They're gonna leave, and that's okay. And you just have to be happy for them to move on. But I think that we can't do the revisionism and the whataboutery and the what ifs. Like they're gone. We have to move on with our projects and get the right players in. Thankfully, I feel like we've got the right manager, so that is one step in the right direction for me. And I think that's people just have to just draw the line and let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, it's such a difficult situation.
Oh.
One thing though, whatever the club decides, I think it is based on the backing of the manager. And if we back the manager, and if the manager starts talking publicly about keeping him, we gotta go with it, right?
It's going to be so hard though going to games, and if he does play, like imagine, and then a lot of people are going to be upset, and then imagine if he scores a goal. It's like, what do you do? Be there, I mean, not just at the stadium, but like at home. You're watching the game and you're thinking, then he scores. Do you cheer? Do you not? Like, it's really hard. It's going to be hard.
It's hard. It's by the way, this talks about rehabilitation, but that let me just again go deeper. Not just for him, we will also need it too. As a fan base, we will need it. We will need huge amounts of time. It's going to cause massive arguments, but eventually time heals all, as they say, and time will probably. This is both scenarios: him staying, him not staying. I can't make my mind. I can't make my mind up either way, because can I picture him staying? I actually can. I think the club might end up keeping him. Can I see him leaving? I actually can see him leaving, but I don't. I don't know. I really do not know where I stand, because when the marriage thing came, that threw me off. I got to be honest. I can't. When a 22, 23-year-old is talking about getting married to the person. Situation like this, again, you mentioned a very good point. People have had traumas in their personal life, and someone also commented that people end up staying with people that they have had very toxic relationships with, and that's just each and everybody's dynamic. Whatever, we can't say anything, but that threw me off. Did that throw you off a bit?
Do you know what? It didn't, because it's more common than you think. I think a lot of women who have been in volatile, violent, toxic relationships will go back to their abuser, will have a baby with their abuser, will, still go through that with that person because they love that person and they hope that they're going to change. And that, when you love someone and you've got those feelings, that's why this is so difficult, and people can really relate to it, because it's really raw human emotions of love and all that comes with it, and being with someone who's famous and all these things. And it's like, it's difficult because there's so many different like tangled webs in this, because people are like heroing him because he's a footballer and can score goals, but they're not understanding that what he allegedly potentially has done is really damaging, and it's not great for people to then see him on the TV screen and be okay with that. It's a lot of people are going to have issues. And then to go, when people mention the stuff about Cantona gigs, that was a different time. Time moves on and people are less tolerant of certain things. And that is apparent now with the movements that we're having in football. So I think that the whataboutery, like, we need to stop doing that and judge it, like you say, on case by case basis, because it's all individual to that situation.
Alien Tenor with a super chat as well. Thank you very much, Alien Tenor. Alien Tenor says, meanwhile, Fergie sold United out over a racehorse. Moral police. That's what I heard. Moral police. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. Everybody will have their own little narrative and their own little way, but hey, this is how it is, right? Alien Tenor, that's your perspective and that's where your stance is, and I can appreciate that. I can understand it. Before I just move on to the next part of the conversation, let me just touch quickly on Brandon Williams and the images that have occurred on Brandon Williams. Alex, break it down for me. Where do you stand?
How do you break that one down? I saw that image and I was like, what are you doing, you idiot? Like, be in your house. Was that at the training grounds? Was that?
No, it wasn't. Well, it was on the motorway. He wasn't driving. I don't think he was driving. I think he was friend. Yeah, he was his friend or someone else was driving.
Wow, how much is he getting paid? He's getting paid like quite a bit. He's just chilling.
25,000 a week, I think. 35,000 a week.
I can see why he's not been picked for the first team. That's all I'm going to say with that, because that is so naughty. And you think to yourself, like, this is your chance. You know, you're playing for, well, you're signed to the biggest club in England. And, you know, you've got to take your chances when you can. I know it's difficult. He's a fringe player. But that, I was like, oh, my goodness. Fergie would have had a meltdown seeing that. But I think Ten Hag would probably be having a meltdown seeing that as well. So I want to see how Ten Hag answers that, because when it comes to the presser that's coming up, I can't wait for that question to be put to him. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So it like I say, I've just showed it on the screen. It doesn't really look good, does it?
No.
In public as well. Look, behind closed doors, people do a lot of things for their own enjoyment, and you know, at the end of the day, that's what it is. And is this something that you guys have seen in public other people do? Yes, you have. Let's just address this, by the way. Is this something you have seen people, young people, people in their 20s do outside of clubs? Hello? Yes, you have. Right? Is this something you want to see from a football player, that from a club that you support? No, you don't. You don't want to see it. Is it important to be in public in a carry yourself in a certain manner when you play for the club? 100,000,000%. Reason is not just because of fans. Forget even that. Let's even strip it back a bit more. Young children look at you as you are God. They literally look at you. Young children, I'm talking 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds. And they will be looking, and you want to set a good example. Because I actually watch Brandon Williams a lot because I see him play in Lee Sports Village. When I go to Lee Sports Village a couple of times a month, I see him play for under 21 football. And of course, Alex, in Lee Sports Village, it is filled with young children and family members who are going, mothers, fathers, children who are going to watch the game, whatever. And obviously the players are so close to you that the kids get to feel, you know, how the players feel and etc. And the players sometimes gives a wave, etc. etc. If those kids are now seeing Brandon Williams do such a thing, come on. It's absolutely not a nice thing. And this is what we mean by culture. Remember culture, Sir Alex Ferguson. And I hate to do Sir Alex Ferguson prop, but again, shirt, tie, suit. Never turn up to a train. Never turn up to a game day or anything without a Man United suit. You must sign the fans' shirts or autographs, take pictures. Carry yourself in a set. No drinking, no going to the pubs. I better not catch one of my spies, better not catch you in a club. Remember, he had spies in clubs, you know, things like that. That's called culture. And let's with Brandon Williams, I know he hasn't featured in the first team at all, but you're still part of the organization, whether you like it or not, whether, you know, it is what it is. And you must. And by the way, I hate to do this, but don't forget Brandon Williams's little tipsy interview last year. People might have forgotten. He had an.
Oh yeah.
Faz remembers some things as much as I forget certain things. Faz remembers something. He had an interview in a boxing event where his friend was fighting, and he did a little tipsy interview, and people had a lot to say. I'm like, you're not even playing. Why are you doing an interview, especially when you've had a good few to drink, and people can tell that you've had a good few to drink. So yeah, Brandon Williams, man, you need to just rein it in a little bit. In your private time, what you do is what you do. You know, you enjoy your money how you enjoy it. But let's move on to just talking about how the season has gone so far. I'll let you kind of unbuckle. What do you think? How's the season gone? Are you happy with how things have gone? Are you over the moon? You know, a lot of people are saying overachieving. What do you think?
I agree with them when it comes to overachieving, actually, because I did not expect to even say, oh, I've got a trophy. I don't care if it's a Mickey Mouse, whatever you want to call it. We've got a trophy. It's been a 6-year drought. Like, I'm going to have some enjoyment with this. I think after I remember the first 2 games, I was deflated. I thought, here we go again. I was like, this poor Ten Hag, what is he going to do with this lot? Because they are just, they're no hopers. There's no chance. And then he turned it around, and we had a really, really good run. And he really adapted his style to suit and accommodate the players that we had. I'm seeing David De Gea doing better. I'm seeing like this amazing Martinez, like just shining. I'm seeing Rashford emerge, and all feels right in the world again. It's just been ups and downs. Obviously, we've had a few blips. That Liverpool game, I switched it off after 4-0. I was too deflated. I was gutted. And then obviously losing to Aston Villa, it was just like, new manager bounce, like, ugh. But I think that, he's managed to claw it back. And I think, it all kind of culminated with the Barcelona game. I know everyone says that, well, this isn't the best Barcelona. We know it. But that whole kind of run up to getting there, we were doing well. And I really liked the way we played with passion. It was exciting. I think it was probably one of the best European games that was going on at that time. I mean, forget all the Champions League games. They were dry. That was where it was at. Europa League on the Thursday night in Manchester United v Barcelona. It was the best thing I'd ever seen. So I think that in itself was amazing. You go through like so many moments of like anxiety, you're watching the team, and then you get that euphoria feeling of like they've done it, and you feel so happy. It's a great feeling. I've really, really, really enjoyed supporting them, and even in the hard times, losing games, I just like the fact that they are so together right now, and they're puffing their chests. Casemiro gives us such a great like backbone in the midfield as well, and you feel so confident and sure with that Maguire and Varane partnership. It's honestly, it's amazing. And like you said before, with Anthony, he's defensive. He offers us ball security on the right. We see it when he's not around, how it falls apart, and then he comes on and does a little bit of one trick pony, whatever. I don't care. I love it. And then it's like boom, Fred coming out of nowhere. I mean, I've had so many moments. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, like, where you been, bro? Like, we missed you last year. Like, come on. It's been so many like moments and momentum moments that I really love. Would I want to see more? Of course, I want us to win like everything. I know we're not going to win the Prem, but even still, I think that we are doing an amazing job right now. I feel like top four is in our grasp, it's in our hands, and I'm happy. Listen, I go to bed every night United on my mind, like chilled, laying back. Yeah, it's good. It's good to be a United fan this season, I tell you.
I think for me this season has been obviously started very poor, but it's been a season of emotions going up and down, and I myself, this is just me speaking for myself, I need to learn to just ease in my emotions more, because when you hit a big wave, it's not the end of the world, right? The ship is not going to sink, guys. Hello, the ship is not going to sink. Chill, it's just a wave. David didn't come out of the box, it's okay. The ship is not going to sink. Bruno Fernandes didn't make a great pass. It's okay. The ship is not going to sink. Jadon Sancho hasn't played X amount of minutes or didn't get this, that, the other. It's okay. The ship is not going to sink. That's the title that I've given, is the ship is not going to sink. Because I like to use these analogies, right? Because look, when a captain has been through storms and has that experience, he always when everybody's panicking, if the captain is not panicking, then everybody starts coming down, right? Everybody calm down. And I've seen my manager doesn't get panicky. He never panics. Nothing makes him. He gets angry. He gets frustrated, which is fair, because people are not doing things as he wants them to do, because it's his first time. But you're trying to seek stability in the middle of the ocean, and it's not going to happen. Not in the first season anyways. This is, we're trying to recruit people for the ship, and we obviously have to filter people out. But my thing is, just because you've hit something does not mean it's the end of the world. And of course it's hard, because we are football fans. We go, woo, 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 7-0, 6 this, 6-3, 4-0, 4-0. 0-0, 1-1, and you think, man, this is what is going on. But it's all part and parcel of the game overall, and this is why international break is so important. You get to think, wait a second, Chelsea are in the mud, Liverpool are in the mud, Tottenham are in the mud. Like, that's 3 of the big 6 are in the mud. The 3 of the biggest teams in England, some of them are massive in Europe, European heritage, they are in the mud. In a season where we've had proudly said, yes, we're in a title charge, and of course we've had to calm down. In a season where we've said, yo, we're going Wembley how many times? Again and again and again. We're going to Wembley the most times out of everyone. Like, how crazy is, just let that sink in alone. We're going to Europe. We're going to quarterfinal in Europe. So all of this is so positive with the players that we have. Of course, there can always be addition and etc. etc. and we're open to it. But I think nobody predicted this at all. I did predict though that we're gonna come third. I did predict it at the start of the season, so I'm glad that at least that could be possible. But there is a little bit of a close gap now for top four. And are you kind of scared, or are you kind of wary of top four? Because I know, of course, as what do you call it, Tottenham have sacked their manager. They're gonna have someone else manage them at the moment, but still they might have new manager bounce. And the points wise, we have 2 games in hand, which is obviously great, but they're 1 point behind. So if we win the next 2 games, we'll be 7 points behind. But are you worried about the top 4 thing?
Yes and no. I think that the no in me is saying that because of Erik ten Hag. I feel like he's steadied the ship before and come back from big defeats, and really the team have come back together again and made sure that they haven't lost again. So I think that run, I think we could go on again. I think we've got an easy run of fixtures. I'll say easy now. Oh my gosh, so might come back.
Touch wood. Touch wood.
But then at the same time, yes, I'm a bit worried because Liverpool and Spurs, they have nothing to play for right now except for getting top 4. That's their ambition. They're playing 1 game a week. They're going to be on it. They're going to be up for the challenge. Yeah, they've got players coming back in from injuries. So yeah, that's going to be a challenge. But the only thing we can do is take control of the games, and we can. It's in our hands. We have to go and we have to make sure that we win. We win. Minimum draw. I don't like draws, but we can't lose. We cannot lose now until the end of the season. We've gone on long enough runs for that to happen. So I think it's definitely to play for, and I think we can definitely still maintain top 4 for sure, and that would be amazing.
Is there a difference between 3rd and 4th?
No. It's not first, is it? So there's no difference between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It's not first. So no one gets a prize of being the greatest runners up, even the Liverpool FC like to think that they do. But
yeah.
Not prize.
Comment down below, everybody watching. Does it matter to you if we come 3rd or 4th? I mean, in all honesty, it does and it doesn't. It does because it looks nicer if you come 3rd, but it doesn't because it doesn't change anything at all. You're still gonna be in Champions League. It doesn't change your budget in essence. It doesn't change how you qualify in Champions League. It doesn't change anything. So we keep saying top 4. We don't say top 3 or top 2 or whatever. Keep saying top 4. But yeah, it doesn't really change much. So I think for me, long as we can see the season out strong, it's very important for me to finish the season strong. It's important to start the season strong. Then you have that little January transfer period, the middle period, where it's very important. And then it's very important to finish the season strong. Very, very important. It shows you the mentality going towards the next season. It shows you resilience from the players. But I am very much aware, and I'm very glad that we are in every competition. I'm very glad. I'm very glad that it shows you that certain players that I wrote off, that you wrote off, that many people wrote off, they can compete in all competitions. Ladies and gentlemen, losing 4-0 Brighton Brentford, 6-3 to City, 7-0 to Liverpool did not mean that we're kicked out of the Premier League. Losing 7-0 to Liverpool doesn't mean we're kicked out of the Premier League. We're still in the Premier League, guys. We're still competing in the Premier League for top 4. I know it's a harsh result, but it's not like a cup draw where you're kicked out. It's done. Yeah, Liverpool have kicked out Manchester United in a devastating 7-0. No, they didn't kick us out. They just closed the gap between us and them. But they're still miles away. Right? You have to put things in perspective. At the time when you see the scoreline and whatever, your mind's oh my God. But when you look at it from a different perspective, you think, well, actually, well done, but we're still above you and we're still gonna finish above you, right? It's a marathon, as they say. It's a marathon. But yeah, I think we're overachieving massively. I just now think next season, and the main factor for next season is the ownership. And as we approach towards the end of the show, tell us, are you Qatar in or are you Jim Ratcliffe in? Where do you stand? Or are you this fan ownership? Where do you stand?
Oh, an ideal world, fan ownership would be incredible. I'd love to do that kind of
interesting.
sure. However, in this instance, that's not going to happen. I'm Qatar in. I'm Qatari in. I like their proposal, I like what they're offering. I understand that there's a bit of a backlash. Won't go into that too deeply, but I think that it's just going to be a really nice refresh. And I like the fact that rival fans are going to be quaking in their boots and crying because they don't want us to be awakened and have all the goals that we used to have before. So yeah, I'm excited for Qatar if we get them.
You said fan ownership. You would love fan ownership. Talk to me a little bit about that. Why? Why would you love fan ownership?
I
What is it
mean,
that attracts you to fan ownership?
do you know, I think it having, like, for example, that the model that's in Germany, I think it keeps stakeholders and owners accountable, and I think that it gives fans a voice because we're so much in love with our football club and we're the ones that are spending the money and going along with, you know, with everything that the club is doing, and we're backing the footballers. I think it's a good thing to have that partnership, but obviously we'd need to have stable stakeholders in place to run the club. But I think that it's nice to have fan stakeholders as well that can feel like they're a part of a club that they love so much. That's what I love about that idea.
But are you not fearful of some of the crazy fans that we have?
Oh my god.
like myself, who wants Neymar, who wanted Zlatan to stay, like myself.
Mbappe, come.
Yeah, people want Mbappe.
Yeah, that's the other side of it, isn't it? Really, where you feel like, yeah, if we do have like fan ownership, then it's going to be a little bit, I don't know, elitist in some way, where people that go to the club, that goes to the grounds to watch football games, are going to be really judgmental. Well, they are already. They're going to be even more so judgmental of people that don't make it to the stadium. So it's that thing where you get a bit worried. But I still like the idea of it. I do. I really do.
I think I'll be honest. I do. I think it's a proud thing to be able to say, you know what? I have a part in Manchester United. Like that. That's such a proud thing to be able to say. I have a voice. I have an opinion, and it's heard. But then it also, you know, I just worry, especially in our culture, right, where it could lead us. You know, the dangers it could have is all I don't actually know much about fan ownership other than the fact that there's some clubs that they have it, right? Barcelona and etc, right? Some European clubs, they have it and it does okay for them, but it also, you know, might not be the best thing. It might not be the best way, but hey, I don't know. I really don't. Am I happy for my club and the owners to make the calls and put footballing people in thingy? Yeah. Would I like to have a say? Yes. On the football, no, because as much as I love football, I'm not qualified. I'm not a qualified manager, physio, whatever, but I am qualified to tell you which chips I prefer. I'm qualified to tell you which drinks I like. I'm qualified to tell you which entertainment I like. So all of that stuff, give me. I can have loads of say on that. But if you're asking me 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, let me just be a fan, please. Let me be a fan. If you want to do service and everything, do I like fries? Do I like wedgies? Do I like Coke Zero or whatever? I'm happy. I'm happy to do all of that. But on the football side, no. But yeah, as everybody knows, I am Qatarian because I think that's just the best thing. What do you think of? But just quickly, what do you think of Jim Ratcliffe? Are you kind of, is he like runners up for you? Do you have a pecking order, 1, 2, or 3?
It's you know what it is, because we've got silent investors that are bidding. It's hard to say if it's 1, 2, or 3, because I would like to know what their proposals are and want to know, but they're obviously silent for a reason. I think that as he's the prominent person who's openly said that they're bidding, I think that, you know, when I look at him, he's definitely number 2 to my first choice. I think that the scary thing for me is that he would level more debt against the club, and that's something that we just don't want again. We don't want to have to start off another season with that kind of thing happening again. I know that he says he's a big fan of Manchester United and he wants to bring them back to prominence and stuff, but it's just, there's a lot of question marks around him, as much as there's question marks around the Qataris. But I feel that the Qatari investment, to me, seems a lot more concrete and a lot more viable and a lot more fruitful for the club overall. So that's why that's my preference, because I just want the club to be the best it can be under the best circumstances with the best owners. That's why I need. So we all need.
Yeah. I think the club deserves to have someone with ambition, and the debt question is obviously a huge factor for us. For me, anything to do with debt, I want to run away from. I just don't want any debt in Manchester United at all, whether it's even good debt, because you can have good debt, right? You can have good debt. I just want to run away from it. I just don't want any debt. And as much as debt is involved, whatever, sure. The other bigger factor is, what's his CV? Is he got a good CV? Has he done this change of clubs before? And the fact is, he hasn't. He had OG Nice, and OG Nice is no better than it was before. And also, he's got another club, if I'm not mistaken, in Switzerland or somewhere around there, where they've been relegated twice. These other clubs have been relegated twice, so the CV doesn't really be screaming fantastic stuff. So yeah, that's just it with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But will he be better than Glazers? Maybe, sure, yeah, I can understand that. He might do things a bit differently and make things better. But it's who we want. It's the Qataris, right? And they've come calling, and hopefully the Glazers sell. But I really appreciate you for joining me today. Thank you very, very much. I hope it's not the first and last time. I hope
it's definitely
come
not.
back again.
I'll come back.
I hope you enjoyed the stream. People, I have put her Twitter and Instagram link down below in the bio in the description, so make sure you go and check Alex's social media out as well. She's always talking about football. She's very, very opinionated, and rightly so. And we'll bring her back again if you guys enjoyed it. But Alex, thank you very much. Is there anything you want to say before you dip out?
Here's to the next few months of United winning, and just please, people, just enjoy, soak up the moments, and just really no more agendas, and just give love to Jadon Sancho, please. Thank you.
I knew it. I should have put money on it. I knew Sancho, something to do with Sancho is coming. I just knew it. I should have put money on it. But thank you very much, Alex. I'll let you go. Thank you very much for joining me. Take care. You have a good rest of your evening as well. Thank you, Alex. But yeah, there was Alex, a friend of mine. Beautiful football analogy, beautiful football talk. And it's always important to bring in people from different backgrounds and different parts of the world to come and have a say. And I'll be trying to do that more on this platform. Actually, I'll try and do that more. International break has given me time to kind of reassess and think. But big up to everyone. I will be back very shortly. Saeed, you have been letting the people down, Saeed. Ole Gunnar Saeed needs to be taught a lesson, guys. Ole Gunnar Saeed needs to be taught a lesson. Wout Saeed Weghorst. This is not acceptable. We deserve better football, Saeed. What is it? You're putting us through misery here. Your back line, my hairline is sharper than your back line. My hairline is sharper than your back line, Saeed. We are watching you. I might play Saeed in a little while, guys. I might play him in a little while. I might play some people in a little while. FIFA stream coming shortly. Stay tuned, people. Love to everyone. Take it easy. I'll see you guys soon.